All right, let's jump straight into today's explainer. We are going to master some absolute foundations of geometry, specifically how to calculate the volume for cylinders and cones. But, we're looking at a curriculum today that does something really unique. It takes rigorous 8th grade math practice and actually pairs it directly with lessons on character and integrity. It's just a fascinating approach to education, showing us how mastering hard mathematical concepts can actually tie right into our own personal development.
So we're starting off with this really powerful reminder from Galatians 6:9. It tells us, "Do not grow weary in doing good." Now, why start a math lesson this way? Well, as this curriculum frames it, practicing math is quite literally exercise for your brain. It's tiring, right? It can be super frustrating, but perseverance absolutely pays off. When you push through that one really tough geometry problem, you're building mental muscles that are going to help you reap a massive harvest of problem-solving skills down the road.
Here is our quick game plan for today. We'll touch on perseverance, review our math tools, solve a few problems together, have a fun little shape showdown, get you set up for independent practice, and finally talk about measuring with integrity. Let's get moving.
Okay, first things first, reviewing your math tools. Let's make sure our formulas and functions are completely dialed in.
By the time we're done here, the goal is for you to be faster, way more accurate, and totally confident. We're going to lock both the cylinder and cone volume formulas firmly into your memory. You'll learn how to instantly pick the right formula based on the shape in front of you, and we'll practice calculating volume both in straightforward simple equations and in real-world contexts.
When you compare these two formulas side by side, it proves a really cool fundamental rule of geometry. So the cylinder volume is pi times radius squared times height. But the cone volume? It's 1/3 times pi times radius squared times height. The only difference is that 1/3. This means that if a cylinder and a cone have the exact same circular base and the exact same height, the cone will always, without fail, be exactly 1/3 the volume of the cylinder. Seriously, keep that relationship in mind. It is a game changer.
All right, let's actually roll up our sleeves and solve one together. Example 1, the cylinder.
Say we have a cylinder with a radius of 3 centimeters and a height of 10. We just lock in our formula, V equals pi r squared h, and plug those numbers right in. 3 squared gives us 9, and multiplying that by our height of 10 gives us 90. That leaves us with 90 times pi. Simple enough, right?
Now, the absolutely crucial point here is knowing how to finish the calculation depending on what your specific assignment requires. Leaving it as 90 pi gives you the exact perfect volume. But if we multiply 90 by the actual value of pi, this brings our final calculated volume to approximately 282.74 cubic centimeters. And notice, those units are cubed because we're dealing with three-dimensional space here.
Awesome job. Now let's switch gears and tackle a cone for example 2. We're going to follow the exact same logic here, but do not forget to multiply by that crucial 1/3. If you skip that step, your ice cream cone is going to be massive, like completely the wrong size. So we plug in 6 for the radius and 5 for the height. 6 squared is 36, multiply that by 5 to get 180, cut that into a third, and we land at exactly 60 pi.
Converting that 60 pi by multiplying out the value of pi gives us our final answer of roughly 188.50 cubic inches. Again, the process is incredibly similar to the cylinder. We just have to remember that a cone is inherently smaller, 1/3 the size to be exact.
Okay, moving right along to what I like to call the shape showdown. Example 3.
This really brings everything we've been discussing together. Imagine a cylinder and a cone that share the exact same dimensions, a radius of 2 and a height of 6. The math tells us the cylinder holds a volume of 24 pi, while the cone holds just 8 pi. And hey, 8 times 3 is exactly 24. Boom! It proves mathematically that the cylinder is exactly 3 times larger. It's geometry in perfect harmony. So if a test ever asks you for the exact difference between the two, you just subtract the cone's 8 pi from the cylinder's 24 pi. That reveals a clean difference of 16 pi, or approximately 50.27 cubic units. Honestly, just understanding this 1/3 relationship makes checking your math on tests so much easier.
All right, enough of me doing all the heavy lifting. It's your turn to practice. Let's talk homework.
Go ahead and grab a mental screenshot of these 5 homework problems and make absolutely sure you're choosing the correct formula based on the shape they give you. Number 1 asks you to find the volume of a cylindrical silo. Number 2 is a straightforward cone problem.
Number 3 asks you to compare a cone and a cylinder, kind of like our shape showdown. Number 4 introduces a tank where you actually already have the base area. And remember, base area is literally just pi r squared, already calculated for you. And number 5 asks which shape holds more if they have the same dimensions. Hint, think back to our 1/3 rule.
Finally, let's wrap up the math and transition into measuring with integrity. This is a really cool biblical morality tip.
The curriculum emphasizes that understanding volume isn't just about passing a test. It teaches us to measure with absolute honesty and fairness. It actually points us to Proverbs 11:1, stating that a false balance is an abomination. In this framework, whether it's an important construction job, measuring ingredients for a recipe, or yes, even taking a math test, accuracy is viewed as a way to honor God. It's such an interesting way to frame mathematics, you know? Not just as numbers on a page, but as a daily practice in integrity that actually builds trust.
The core philosophy of the heroesmartacademy framework proposes that education without morality, well, that just leads to smart people making hurtful choices. It's not enough to just memorize the formulas. You really have to apply them truthfully in the real world. They point to Romans 8:6-7, noting that a spiritual, morally grounded mind brings peace. It's a completely holistic approach, blending the hard, cold logic of geometry with the much softer skills of character building.
So, I'm going to leave you with this somewhat provocative thought to ponder as you tackle your homework today. How will your integrity impact the measurements you make? Whether you're calculating the volume of a cone or simply dealing fairly and honestly with a friend, remember that precision and honesty can totally go hand in hand. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep exercising that brain of yours, and I'll catch you on the next one.